Hello and welcome back to my channel Lady T. My name is Nathalie and today is just going to be a very chill video where I'm just going to talk and give you a little update of where I am in life, if I know, and we're just going to have a talk. So I've been wanting to make this video for a couple of days now because I felt like maybe I just need to talk. I need to vent a little bit. The thing is, I was supposed to start university this week as I'm filming this. But 2 months ago, okay, let's back up. Let's actually make a plan for how we're going to tell this. 2 months ago, everything was going swimmingly, everything was going fine. And I had this sense of like, okay, now I'm going to have my new beginning. We're going to start over. I moved in with my boyfriend in May of this year. And I was like, okay, now everything is settling down. Everything is going well. Finally, things are looking up for me in life. So things are going nicely. And I had a conversation with my boyfriend. Like, I know that social work wasn't the study that really fits me. Like, I want to do something for me and not because other people feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I decided that I wanted to go to university and study literature, movie and literature science. Because I was like, I've always loved books and I really like watching movies. So I would like to learn more about that. And I think that's something that really fits me. And so my boyfriend said, well, if you want to do that, great. It would take me 1.5 hours to travel to the university and 1.5 hours to travel back. So it's like, you don't have to work if you don't want to next to that, because otherwise your free weekends are gone as well. So he said, like, it's okay, I can pay for everything. So if you just don't want to work and just focus on your study, then that's completely fine. So I quit my job. At the end, it was supposed to end at the end of August. So today is the 1st of September for me. So it ended yesterday. So I was looking forward to 2 more months of working on the job that I didn't love anymore, but that I loved the people that I worked with and the people who I worked for. The elderly. I worked in an elderly center. And then there was one day where my body was like, okay, I won't say clearly what happened because it's a bit, but my body let me know like, okay, you're not feeling the best. So I can say it this way. I had an entire morning on the bathroom. I can say it like that. So that was the thing that happened. And then I got on the bus to go to work and I suddenly felt very dizzy and it just kept building and building and building. And at that time the train didn't ride because they were working on the rails and everything to where I needed to go. So I sat in the second bus that was there instead of the train. And it just got worse and I was like, what am I doing? I'm clearly not feeling well, so I should call in sick. And I did. And then the next morning everything was fine. Until, again, and around the afternoon, an entire morning on the bathroom again. And then we went somewhere and suddenly I started feeling dizzy again and it overtook me. So I needed to go to the emergency where it was in that attraction kind of thing, in the shop where we were. So that was a fun time. And they called the hospital, but they were like, no, it's probably fine. Like, she's conscious. He knew that she was going to faint, so that's no signs of anything bad. So it's okay. So we went home, and the next day I immediately woke up with the same bad feeling in my stomach and feeling very, very dizzy. And that continued throughout the week. So I went to the doctor's on Friday because I was like, well, it probably will go away on itself, right? But it didn't. So I went to the doctor and he was like, oh no, I went on Monday. I didn't wait that long. I went on Monday, the Monday after. And he was like, well, it's probably just a stomach flu, so don't worry about it. But if the symptoms continue, then you need to come back. So a week later, it still wasn't gone. Like every single day, from the morning I woke up to the moment I went to sleep, I felt dizzy, and everything just came out in every way possible. Very good stuff. And then I went to the doctor. My own doctor was on a holiday, which he hadn't told me, so I needed to go to someone else. Very nice person. They checked me. I had some blood samples taken and some urine tests, and they all came back well, except for that there was a very, very small traceable thing of an infection. But they were like, we can dismiss it because it's so small, like it doesn't really mean anything. It probably means that it's almost gone, the virus that you had or the infection. So I was like, okay, then in a week's time it should be okay. And they were like, yeah, it should be. Then on that week, on the Sunday, I started to get chest pains. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to die. That's always my mindset. I'm getting help for that from a therapist as well. I was like, okay, this is not okay. And we called the emergency services and they were like, it sounds like you're having a panic attack. And I was like, I know what panic attacks feels like from my past, and this doesn't really feel like it, but okay, maybe you're right. And it kind of went away during the night, so I was like, okay, it was probably a panic attack. And then the next day it would start in the evening again, pressure on my chest. So I was like, okay, probably just a panic attack. I'll just watch some ASMR because that always calms me down and then it's going to be fine. But it continued throughout the rest of the night. And then for the day after, on Wednesday, it just continued and it stayed like that. And just the entire day I had chest pain. And I was like, I'm not feeling particularly stressed right now, or at least not what I'm experiencing, like a major amount of stress. Like even in the night when I fell asleep, I woke up from the pain on my chest. So I went to the doctor again, and this time I had yet another doctor, and she pressed and she tried to decide what was going on. She was like, well, you clearly have pain here on the top. You can't really see, on the top above my left chest. Like if you push, it would really hurt. And she was like, okay, just go into the hospital and have your photos taken. So we could immediately walk to the hospital and have my photos taken. And they came back, well, nothing was wrong. And I was like, okay, maybe it was a panic attack then. This panic that stayed and stayed and stayed. But at the time, my bowels were still not really heavy, and the constant dizziness was still there. Like I could only take my dog for a walk for about 10 minutes and then I would have to rush home so that I wouldn't faint. I had never fainted. During these last 2 months, I've never fainted. I just really felt like I was on the edge of fainting and that I needed to hurry home. So the week after that, I think... Now I need to get the timeline clear. I don't think I went because there was nothing really to talk about, because nothing really changed. The pressure on my chest just magically disappeared. The rest just continued on. And then we went on holiday. We went to Texel, one of the islands here in the Netherlands. And I was like, okay, if this is just simple stress, like almost everything physically is tested, so it must be stress. Like maybe I'm close to a burnout or something like that. Just maybe a vacation will help. And then it started to get worse. Well, just the bowels just were like, nope, we're not doing this. So we'll just, everything that comes in, we'll just throw it right out. So that was helpful. I've lost a ton of weight, so that's a good thing. And the dizziness continued, but I tried to take walks, and during those walks I would notice that my thoughts were just running around and were like, okay, you're going to faint, be careful, be careful. And as long as I didn't focus on those thoughts and try to keep walking, then everything was fine. So I was like, okay, well, this is stress. Like, it has to be. Like, I can control them, and I can walk further than I think I can. So it has to be stress. But there was always this, like, ground level of dizziness. Like, yes, the thoughts made the dizziness worse, but the dizziness was always there as a sort of ground new level of how I was always feeling. So we went back a day early because I really didn't feel good on the Saturday, and we were supposed to go home on Sunday. So I was like, yeah, I really want to go home. I'm not feeling well. So we did. And then on Sunday, my dizziness was gone. It has been gone until yesterday, which is for a little over a week. Yesterday it came back, and I've been feeling a little dizzy all day today. So I don't know what's up with that. We went back to my doctor last week after the vacation, and he was like, okay, we have two things that we can do. We can either have another blood sample taken because you had that with the other doctor, maybe I see something else. It's like, nah. And then he was like, or I'm going to immediately just send you, you can make an appointment at the hospital and they're going to look at your internal organs. And I was like, yeah, just do that, because we can wait here for another blood sample and then have you telling us to go there, but let me just immediately go there. I mean, the blood sample has already been taken. I still don't feel any different from back then, so let's do that. So, and he was like, I told him, like, maybe it's stress, and he was like, nah, it continued on for so long. Like, I don't think it mentally anything this has something to do with this. I was like, interesting, but okay, thank you. And he actually took out of my on my file here in the Netherlands, at least you can, if you're a healthcare professional, you can see everything in Wondershare. And an important thing, like for me, trigger warning. For me, it would immediately pop up that I had suicidal intentions in the past. So when I go to a doctor with mental problems or something like that, and that immediately will flash up like, okay, be aware of this. And one of the things is also anxiety and panic. So that immediately flashes up on screen. And he was like, I'm going to take that out in my... I don't know what I'm trying to say. I will just put it in on screen in a word. I will just take that out for you, because otherwise they may immediately throw it on panic and anxiety, but I feel like that's not the case, so they really need to look at you physically. I was like, okay, thank you. And then the day after that, I had my second meeting with my therapist that I got a reference to, not a reference, I will again put the word here, a referral. That was what I'm looking for. A referral to the therapist earlier this year. And I met her for the second time last week. And I told her, and she was like, yeah, it's definitely not physical, it's mentally. And I was like, this isn't helping. One person who's saying like, yeah, it's definitely not a mental thing. And the other one is like, yeah, it's definitely not a physical thing. Okay. So we talked about it, and she was like, well, how often do you go to stores and stuff like that? I was like, never. I only walk my dog, and for the rest I stay at home because I'm just afraid that I'm going to faint. And I'm like, I get really stressed when I'm out and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, but you can't faint when you're stressed. I was like, oh, what? And she was like, yeah, well, it really makes sense. Like in nature, you get this adrenaline rush when you have anxiety or panic, because your body is telling you like, this is an unsafe environment and you need to get out of it, or fight, flight, or freeze and that stuff. And she was like, it doesn't make sense that your body would faint if you are under that much stress, because you would have to get yourself out of the situation. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. She was like, so you don't have to be worried about fainting because you're not going to faint. Not when you're that high on your anxiety. And I was like, okay, that will definitely help. And she was like, okay, maybe try going out to the shop again, to the supermarket with your boyfriend. We made levels of what I thought was would give me the most anxiety. And still, the first time I was like, well, it's not a big deal. I always go to the store. Like, that's not what it is. I'm convinced it isn't it. And then I told my boyfriend, and we made a plan to go the next morning on 8 a.m. And that morning I was so stressed. And then I was like, okay, big part of this is anxiety. Well, since yesterday, like I said, the dizziness is back. So I'm happy that we're still going to get it checked out physically. And that's going to happen on the 20th of September. But the first day I went out to the supermarket, I went with my boyfriend, and it was so difficult. I can't really, if you have never had anxiety, then I can't really explain to you how it feels exactly. And how it feels to me, how it always starts, is when I'm high on alert. And I think this counts for everyone who has high anxiety. Sounds come in way louder than they actually normally are. Because I think you are super focused because you're stressed and your body is on hyper alert. So everything, you notice everything happening and you hear everything way more clearly. At least for me, and everything way louder. So that is all coming at me. And my head is like, okay, but I can't deal with this right now because there's too much stress. Then you hear the buzzing of all the refrigerators. You hear every child screaming, but like everything is happening right in your ear. And at the same time, my head is saying to me like, yeah, this is lame. Like, you suck so much. Like, how can you just not walk into a supermarket like a normal human being and just function like you're supposed to? Like, everything is going to fall apart. You're probably going to the hospital and going to find out that you're going to die. And maybe you deserve it because you're a horrible person. Like, you are not strong enough to go through this. Like, I have a lovely brain. And that is all going through me. So I kind of climb back into my head, and then everything just explodes like anxiety. And then I have to tell myself, everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be fine. And it was. We picked up more than one item from the supermarket, which was the goal to pick up one thing and go home. And that was so much harder than I thought it would be. So anxiety is definitely there. And we were only there for 3 minutes, but I was tired for the rest of the day. I couldn't do anything. Just sat on the couch and read some books and watched some videos so I could do something. I was so exhausted just from that little trip to the supermarket. And the day after, I went alone. I didn't tell my boyfriend because I was like, I don't want him to make a thing about it, like, oh, you can do it, babe. I was like, okay, I just want this to be like a regular normal day, because otherwise I'm telling my brain like, oh, this is a special situation, like, oh, if someone has to tell you that it's going to be okay, like, of course it's going to be okay. So I didn't tell him. I just got on my bike, didn't look at him through the window, and just left. And I was like, I'm just going to the supermarket, not make a big deal. And as I was cycling, I was like, okay, there's death around every corner. I can't get hit by that car. And then the other side of my brain would be like, yes, but you didn't, because you know the rules in traffic. You can anticipate. And then it got worse and worse as I got to the supermarket. And I was like, okay, just focus on the flower. Then the other side of my head would be like, I don't care about freaking flowers. We're going to die out here. And then I would tell myself, like, just focus on the flower. Just do me a favor, just look at the flower. And then the flower was really pretty. I'm like, oh, look at that flower. So I was distracting my mind, and it worked. So I got there, and then I was like, okay, first hurdle done. Let's continue. So I went in, and I got some stuff, more than one item. Because every time that I had the item, my anxiety would raise, and I was like, okay, now we have to get out. And then I was like, I'm not going to leave because of the anxiety, because then I feel that it still wins. Like the anxiety in my head still wins if I give into, okay, it's too much, I'm going. Like, no, I just want to leave because I've got everything that I need and that I decide to go, not because the anxiety is getting too worse. So that happened. Then I went there, and then I got really anxious because I thought that I would forget the PIN code of the pass, the bank pass. Because I just act like a normal human being. And then I realized like a lot of people go through this, but we don't notice and we think that they're normal. So maybe this is normal behavior. Maybe everyone is freaking out. And that was a win. So I came back and my boyfriend opened the door and he was like, okay, how did it go? Like, hi, hug. I was like, yeah, freaking tired. For the rest of the day, freaking tired. But I did it. Oh, and then the next day my boyfriend went to work and I wanted to go, but I was like, no, right now it's just too much. Those are the days that are kind of bad. But I try to do as much as I can here at home. Trying to pick up more. I'm not as tired as anymore as at the beginning I was. So that's going good. Because in the first couple of weeks I could hardly do anything. I just needed to sleep a whole bunch because I was so tired. There was just no energy. So yeah, that's why I also still think that there is something physical. Like, yeah, the anxiety is obviously there and it's making it worse. But physically, those weeks were horrible. And I stayed at home because I wasn't feeling well, not because I was afraid to go outside. So there is something there and I'm just happy that they're going to check it out. But what I also wanted to talk about, because I didn't feel well, I decided not to go to university. And I also had a talk with my boyfriend about it during our vacation. I was like, I just can't picture myself being happy with a full-time job or a part-time job. Like, it gives me so much anxiety to have a job. It's like, I know it's really weird and I know we all have to do it in this society that we live in, but it just gives me so much anxiety and pressure and stress that I have to be somewhere at hours that are decided for me. And I have tried so many different jobs. I've been delivering newspapers. I've worked at a supermarket in the bread department, but also as a cashier. I've worked in a retail shop. I've worked with the elderly. What have I done? I've sold potatoes when I was a child. Well, not potatoes, onions. Not lie. I sold onions as a child. And I've worked at McDonald's for 2 weeks, but those are dark weeks, so we don't talk about that. So that is the places that I've worked, and I've managed to keep those jobs for a couple years. But I feel so stressed and so like someone else is living my life. I want more freedom. That's what I need. And maybe people are happy that way by going to a 9-to-5 job. It absolutely kills me. Can't describe it better than that, but there is something in me that gets killed and just stifled and like oppressed when I need to do that. And I was like, at one point, or on one side, I really love this new prospect of this new study and I think it really fits me, but I hate the thought and it's giving me so much anxiety already that I know that after that I have to find a job. Well, not have to, but why would you go to university to study that course and then have to do work all the time? Like, I can't do that. I don't think I can. And he was like, instead of going to university, maybe just take the time to figure out what you want to do. He was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I really want to be a stay-at-home mom. I just want to give my children the opportunity, if I ever get them, to have a mother or a father or at least a parental figure at home who they can come home to and do fun stuff with and stuff like that. And I was like, what I would really love is just being able to dictate my own hours and decide when I want to work and what I want to do. And he was like, maybe you have your own shop or something, or your own business. And I was like, the day before, I was thinking of one of my old volleyball teammates, and she is a text writer, but she works on her own. She works as a freelancer. And funnily, the day before that, I was thinking about her, and I was like, maybe I should ask her how she did that, because it's really cool and really impressive. And that day she messaged me because I posted a photo on Instagram, and then I had that talk with my boyfriend, and I was like, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I should start my own business. So that is going to happen. On the 17th of this month, I'm going to go to the office where I'm supposed to go and officially sign that my business is going to start. And then the whole adventure begins. So I've been making a lot of art. I've been free. It feels so good. I'm a bit emotional because it's also almost the time of the month, so my emotions are here. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of art, a lot of reading, and I feel so much better. I've been working on stickers that I'm going to be selling. I've looked into how to sell books and how to get them in cheap. Like, not that I would have to go to a big giant bookstore and be like, buy everything for 20 euros and the stuff that they usually retail for, but where those bookshops actually get the books from and then buy them in myself and sell them. So I've been figuring that out. And I've been working on my book that I wanted to work on, so everything is looking up. And then I had a little bit of a meltdown yesterday. Because sometimes it can still feel overwhelming and we're still figuring a lot out. But I feel a lot more confident in that career path than I did with the other one. So that is where I am in my life right now. YouTube-wise, I've been working myself a little bit too hard with 2 videos on weekdays. It has been a bit too much for me, and have I been playing? No. The playing of games started to feel a bit like a chore. It has only been for 2 months, but since I've had my depression a couple of years ago, I've learned to identify feelings and emotions that go in with me a little bit quicker. Still not going well, as you could tell by the anxiety, but I've been doing better at it. And after my schedule of 1 week editing, 1 week playing games, and the amount of videos that I had to make, it was a bit overwhelming, especially with the other job that I still had. There comes the trash collector. But yeah, what I want to do is make less videos throughout the week and focus more on art videos. Thank you, little trash compactor. Oh, it's not. It's my neighbor doing construction. Fun. But yeah, so I want to focus more on art videos and really progress that. There are also still going to be gaming videos, but at a lower frequency. And one that I'm actually happy with. Like with the cottage living stuff, I hate that Let's Play. Absolutely hate it. There are 2 or 3 more videos that I have to edit, and then in the last video you say like, I'm just not having fun, so we're quitting. There's still some things of those videos that I would like to show, but Cottage Living, don't get me wrong, is a great game, and I really love the pack, but I'm just not loving the gameplay. The Let's Play, that's what I mean. So we're going to focus on things that I do like and games that I want to play. So we're going to be doing that. Also love these earrings. Yeah, that's my life. How have you been doing? I hope you've been doing very well, and even if you have not been doing well, then I hope you're getting the help that you need or that you want. And I hope that you know that you're not alone. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.